welcome to a brand new episode of Coming Distractions. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
All right, guys, we're back. This episode, we're going to talk about the newly released film, Annihilation. This one is starring Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac. It was directed by Alex Garland, who, if you remember, did Ex Machina with Oscar Isaac as well. The general premise for this is that Natalie Portman is sent into this thing they call the what is it, the Shimmer, and it's basically this kind of wall sort of alien thing. They don't really know what it is, and so she goes into it with these other military women who are also scientists, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Basically, you see kind of like a meteor or something kind of hit this watchtower kind of thing, or a lighthouse, excuse me, in the beginning of the movie, and then that sort of sparks off what happens. I saw this movie. You did not.
I did not. You can always tell when Jay didn't like a movie when he doesn't know the director.
I wanted to like this movie. I really did, because I really, really liked Ex Machina. And look, this movie was... I will say this before I get into like my overall thoughts. The movie is gorgeous. Like the scenes from the trailers and stuff like that really focus in on like basically this alien life that's kind of manipulating the DNA of everything around it, including like the animals and the plant life and everything.
Yeah.
Those scenes are very cool. And it's surprisingly more of a, I wouldn't say a horror movie, but more of a very creepy movie than I thought it would be.
So Alex Garland, I'm looking at Alex Garland's filmography. One of my favorite movies that he's done some movies that people like. One of my favorite movies that people don't know for some strange reason is Sunshine.
Yes,
I really, really like that movie.
I love that movie.
That movie is that is 2/3 of a great movie, and then it just kind of goes off a cliff.
Wait, whoa. No, he was a screenwriter.
Yeah, he was a screenwriter.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
okay.
I credit a lot of that to him. Even the negative stuff, the last third, which just kind of fell off a cliff.
I didn't hate the last third of that, but yes, I can certainly understand that criticism.
Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah.
He was executive producer and screenwriter for Dread, which is another movie that I enjoy. And the big one that I enjoy is Ex Machina. So I was super duper pumped to see this movie. Now, it's getting a lot of critical praise, but you're saying that the critics en masse are getting it wrong?
They're lying to you. They're all paid off. No, look, I think part of the thing that I'm sure will come out is I haven't read any reviews. I've just kind of heard buzz that a lot of people didn't care for it. Some people did, whatever. Not that basically it's not a critical like success where everybody's on board. I think one of the big things with this movie is I'm sure people are going to be like, you just didn't get it, man. Like, you just didn't get it. No, I got it. I got exactly what it was trying to come across. I got the ending, everything. It just, the first 30 minutes of this movie is a slog. Like, it is. I'm like, when are they going to get to the Shimmer? Like, I get it. And, like, you've got to build a little bit of the backstory. And they do that, like, weirdly in the first, 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, why is it taking another 20 minutes to get her in the damn Shimmer? Like, let's go, guys, get the team together. Let's get moving, because there's 2 hours of this. Like, come on. And I'm not normally like that. I don't mind a slow burn indie movie, but it just felt unnecessarily dragging in the beginning. Then once they get into the Shimmer, the pace picks up, right? It truly does. It's not a slog the entire time. But what ends up happening, the best way to describe this movie is it is a beautiful, boring mess. Like, wow. It just is, right? Like, they have these moments where you're just like, wow, that was like really like intense, right? Like there are a couple moments where like they have interactions with certain animals that have been changed, their DNA has been changed. And the further in they go into the Shimmer, the more the animals have changed, right? Which adds this like creepy kind of horror element. Like, the further they get into this game, the worse it's going to get, kind of thing. So I got that, and then sort of the reveal at the end. Again, I'm not going to do any spoilers or anything, but sort of the reveal at the end is, I want to say, was it Mission to Mars? Do you remember that movie?
I did not like that movie.
Yeah, I didn't either. But do you remember sort of the ending with the alien reveal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know why you didn't like that? That's kind of how I felt about this. This is a here's a warning to filmmakers, especially, when you're doing sci-fi. You know how everyone got really upset that in Contact it was her father?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, what a ripoff." You know why they do that? Because when you show a human, it's easier to relate to than a humanoid alien, because a humanoid alien, spoiler alert, generally looks really bad. And it looks cheap. And it looks very Disney-esque. And that's one of the things about this movie. I was like, I don't like that. And people literally were laughing because it looks ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, they were literally laughing during screening.
I'm hearing from critics that this film must be seen on the big screen. Like, this is a theater-going experience, and he shot it on film for a reason, because it's supposed to be seen on a big screen in a dark room. And you're saying,
I get that. Look, again, it is a beautiful, boring mess. It just...
So you're saying that all around, while it did look pretty, the story didn't grab you then.
It doesn't really.
And the performances don't save it?
So the performances feel very perfunctory. They just do. Natalie Portman puts in a good performance because it's Natalie Portman. She just does. Oscar Isaac, while he's not there a lot, his character is interesting. I wouldn't say his performance was anything that was that big of a deal. Jennifer Jason Leigh is probably, outside of Natalie Portman, is the most interesting character. And she's sort of leading this group of women into the Shimmer. Tessa Thompson is there. I would argue doesn't do a lot. I didn't think she was really utilized. Gina Rodriguez, she's kind of an interesting character because she's, as time goes on, they start to lose track of time, right? As the longer they're in the Shimmer, she starts to kind of lose it. And so she's the classic character in this group of military folks, the first one to go crazy.
Yeah, paranoia.
Right. Yeah. So she worked in that regard. I thought it was honestly, if I'm giving a score, it's a 2 out of 5.
Wow. All right.
I'm actually very disappointed because, again, I loved Ex Machina. I really liked the other things that he's written. 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later was okay. But I love Dread as well. It had a lot of promise, but it just did not deliver. I just didn't think so.
All right.
So there you go. That's our review of Annihilation. Make sure you go to comingdistractionspod.com to check out our other reviews. You can also check out those reviews in our podcast, Coming Distractions, on Spotify, iTunes, that sort of thing, wherever you get your podcast. And also on iTunes, remember to leave some 5-star reviews for Coming Distractions as well if you like the show. And we will see you guys next time.
See you.
Bye. You're watching the Nerdpocalypse YouTube channel. Make sure you click that button to subscribe and check out our weekly podcast where we talk about movie, TV, news, tech, and weird stories from around the internet.